we back with another reflection on the Daily Vedantic, the timeless wisdom of the Vedantic philosophy, brought to you daily, little bits and bites, 5-10 minute episodes on timeless wisdom that can be applied to nearly any and every aspect of life. One of the things that we talk about within this philosophy of Vedanta is that you have two inner equipments. You have a mind and an intellect. This is perhaps the central practical contribution in our daily lives from this philosophy. This outline that you have two inner equipments, not just a mind. And the full articulation is that you have a body, a mind, and an intellect. We all need to hear this sometimes hundreds of times before, as Swami will say, the penny drops, before it starts to click. That you have a body, which we all understand. No one ever pushes back on that part. Then the mind. It's like, yeah, okay, I agree. There's something subtler than the body that's driving inner dialogue, thoughts, feelings, emotions. And then this philosophy outlines that you have an intellect, an equipment that is more subtle than the mind, that is meant to guide the mind, the equipment for discernment, for analysis, for reflection. Our mind is the seat of our feelings, our emotions, our likes, our dislikes, our preferences. The intellect is the seat of, like I said, our discernment. I might like ice cream, but should I have 48 scoops right now? Or will that destroy my sleep, my stomach, and my day tomorrow? I might like a glass of wine. Should I have 9 of them? That is the interplay between the mind and the intellect. The intellect is often described as the adult in the room, the mind, childlike, and it is so great to have a child at home. But would you leave them home alone? I always think of our 7-year-old, and I definitely would not leave her home alone for an extended period of time. That adult in the room, that is the intellect. But what can be misinterpreted within this philosophy that reinforces the value of discernment, of a subtler equipment beyond the mind? What can be misinterpreted is a view that emotions aren't important. And the concise diffusion of that is that we should have emotions, but not be emotional. This is the distinction, the discernment. Have emotions. Love, endearment, affection. These are traits of every sage. This is the heart of what we often connect with when we encounter a sage, a friend. It's what we identify with or feel a lack thereof with a parent. Have emotions. The mind is a powerful and beautiful thing. The 5-year-old at home is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But to become emotional is to tell the adult to peace out, is to let our mind drive the bus instead of our intellect. It's to give way to, well, whatever feelings I have. Anger, all right, I'm going to say this. Fear, all right, I'm going to do this. A cornered animal does some pretty erratic things. The things we are capable of doing when we let fear drive the bus. It's nearly unthinkable. Almost every horrific act that humanity has done from one group to another has been driven by an emotion. Whether that was fear, whether that was desire, whether that was a pursuit of comfort, you can tie them all back to emotion driving the bus instead of the intellect. The intellect, and I often say this, is defined as the capacity to see the end in the beginning. That capacity to discern, which I fully know that in our culture, our society, a virtue of discernment is not something you hear very often. But the virtue of discernment, that is, in this philosophy, the crown jewel of virtues. That capacity to discern said another way, is the capacity to see the end in the beginning. It's the union between an emotion to love and knowing how to love. Do you smother the child? Or do you actually give them some tough love that gives them a much better life than the obsessive, hovering parent that can actually destroy the life of a child? The intellect, the capacity to discern, the capacity to see the end in the beginning. This all boils down to quality of emotion. A perspective towards a quality of our emotions versus quantity of emotions. And said in a very concise, a beautifully concise way within this philosophy, is to have emotions but do not be emotional. Emotions are beautiful things, but to be governed by them is to be childish, is to be lost, is to be a burden within our family or our group of friends. Everyone knows that friend that you probably pops into your head when I say, like, think of your most emotional friend. They're the ones that are not just emotionally out of control. They're the ones that are usually not that helpful to the rest of the group. And this philosophy calls us to provide the utmost help to our group of friends, to our family, to our community, to serve, to be the surgeon that does not fold like a lawn chair when something goes wrong, but is saving lives on the reg because they're keeping their composure. They have a well-developed intellect that drives the beautifully powerful mind towards what that patient really wants. The same is said for the friend that has emotions but is not emotional. The friend that feels love, that can give love, affection, that can feel fear, that can empathize and see what you might be going through, but is not governed by those emotions, keeps their composure and says the right thing, does the right thing, or has the clarity to not do any number of the wrong things. That clarity, that capacity to discern can be simply described as the ability to govern one's emotions rather than being governed by them. And that is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. And speaking of children at home, our little girls just got home from school. You can probably hear it in the background. We'll see you next time on the Daily Vedantic.